Hey Chiefs Kingdom, welcome back to the channel. It's week 8 and our Kansas City Chiefs are under the bright lights of Monday Night Football hosting the Washington Commanders at Arrowhead. This is a big one. We're coming off a dominant shutout over the Raiders and momentum is high, confidence is back, and now it's time to prove we can stack the wins. So in this preview, we're diving into injury updates, key matchups, players to watch, and of course, what the Chiefs need to do to keep this streak alive. So let's get into it. Let's start with the latest on the injury front because availability always sets the tone for matchups like this. For the Chiefs, the big news is that rookie defensive tackle Omarr Norman-Lott has officially been placed on the injury reserve after tearing his ACL late in the Raiders game. He was part of that strong interior rotation, y'all, so his loss definitely impacts our run defense and pass rush depth on the inside. Elsewhere, Juwan Taylor, no penalties associated with this mention here. He's dealing with a shoulder and knee issue, but has been practicing. Xavier Worthy's name has also popped up on that injury list, but he's on the field after getting banged up on that jump ball last week. He is trending upwards. Kareem Hunt sat out of practice with a tweaked ankle, y'all, but the expectation is that he will be ready by Monday. Josh Simmons is still listed as out and did not participate in practices so far this week. And the reason for that is personal still. So no mention of this so far. Everything is still pretty hush hush around Josh Simmons' situation, but he is not expected to be here this week either. So now for the Commander side, rookie quarterback Jaden Daniels is out with a hamstring injury. And interestingly enough, they have already ruled him out. So there has to be a fairly significant hamstring injury. That means that Marcus Mariota is getting the start for the Commanders. Guard Sam Cosmi is questionable with the back issue, and tight end Zach Ertz got a rest day. And wideout Terry McLaurin is back to full practice after a quad problem for the last couple of weeks. So overall, the advantage is Kansas City. We're healthier, deeper, and we're at home. Now, let's talk about Marcus Mariota for a second because this is an interesting wrinkle. Mariota's no stranger to facing the Chiefs. Back in his days with the Titans, he actually beat Kansas City in that 2018 wild card game. Y'all remember that crazy play where he threw a touchdown pass to himself? Yeah, that one still stings. Ask any Chiefs fan that's been around in recent years. But since then, our defense has evolved big time. Mariota's career record against the Kansas City Chiefs is 1-2, and this year he's been filling in sporadically. So we'll see what he does against our defense. But he is a mobile quarterback who can hurt you with his legs, but he's not that same dual threat that he was early in his career. And with our defense humming the way that it is right now, this matchup leans heavily in the Chiefs' favor. Now, let's break down some of the biggest matchups to keep your eyes on come Monday night. The Chiefs' offensive line versus the Commanders' front seven. Even with some injuries, Washington still has guys who can bring pressure. But with Jalen Moore stepping up, Creed Humphrey anchoring the middle, the Chiefs have been pretty solid. Now, the mission here, keep Mahomes clean and establish the ground game early. When we talk about Patrick Mahomes versus the Commanders secondary, Mahomes has been surgical these last few weeks, making smart throws, spreading the ball around, and he'll be facing a secondary that's been giving up an average of 245 passing yards per game. Look for him to find all of our weapons. Hollywood Brown, Travis Kelce, Xavier Worthy, Rashee Rice, Brashard Smith, Kareem Hunt, all of our weapons, all right? All of them. Now, Rashee Rice's momentum. Last week, we saw flashes of why Kansas City was so patient with his recovery, right? We were counting it down. He was so hyped. The chemistry with Mahomes looked sharp last week. Expect him to build on that rhythm, especially in the red zone. Washington's offense, though, versus Kansas City's defensive front and our secondary, our team will lean heavily on Chris Jones in this game to dominate the inside. Expect Chris Jones to collapse pockets and disrupt Washington's protection. On the edges, George Karlaftis must bring consistent pressure to force backups into hurried throws. And then in the middle, good old Nick Bolton. He's going to anchor the linebackers. He'll have to replay action, fill gaps, and limit Washington's run game, which I know he can do. And in the secondary, Trent McDuffie, he'll likely draw the opponent's best receiver assignment. So his matchup and coverage consistency will be key if Washington tries to stretch us deep. With depth and health on our side, Kansas City's defense needs to show up big to win this game. And not just win, but win convincingly. Y'all, we have to start fast. Like last week's game where we shut out the Raiders, we need to start fast, set the tone early with an opening drive touchdown. That Arrowhead energy feeds off of momentum. So we need to start fast. We also need to establish the run. If Pacheco, Hunt, Smith can get it rolling, it'll keep Mahomes balanced and the Commanders' defense guessing. Protect the ball. We cannot have any careless turnovers this week. We can't give Washington short fields or easy points here. Make them work for every little bit that they're going to get if they're going to get it. Pressure Mariota. We've got to force him into making mistakes. The Chiefs' defense has been elite at collapsing the pocket, so we got to keep that energy, that same energy, and we got to rattle him from within. Force him to make mistakes. And we had to clean up penalties. All right. We were pretty good a couple of weeks ago with 0 penalties. And then we racked up a few last week. Not as many as our opponent, but we racked up a few more penalties last week. So discipline matters, especially in prime time under the bright lights. Let's stay really, really focused, locked in, and do not shoot ourselves in our feet. That doesn't translate as well when I make it plural. Anyway, if the Chiefs execute on these fundamentals, this could easily turn into another statement win. Now, here are some fun facts, some fun context for our Monday night matchup here. This is Kansas City's second Monday night football game of this season, and we remember how the last one went because I was there in person and I really remember it and how incredible some of those Jacksonville fans were to my boys and I. Mahomes is 9-4 in Monday Night Football starts. So let's make that 10-4 come Monday night, shall we? The Chiefs have outscored our opponents 61-17 over the past 2 games. Washington hasn't won in Arrowhead since 1983, y'all. 1983. I was a wee toddler at that time. Yeah, I was. Also, the lone time that Washington beat the Chiefs was on September 18th, 1983, but that game was played in Washington. So that's interesting too. And in total all-time series, the Chiefs hold a dominant 10-1 record over Washington. So the history and the momentum are both on our side. So y'all, my prediction for this game, I'm going 40 burger. I'm ready for a 40 burger. I know Chiefs Kingdom, y'all are as well. My prediction, Chiefs 42, Commander 17, Andy Reid, let us get a 40 burger. I know you don't like to drive down and hammer home whenever we have quite a lead, but can we please just have this? Thanks. Mahomes stays hot. The defense continues its dominance, and Kansas City rolls into a week 9 on a mission. So I'm watching to see if this team keeps that championship mentality we've been talking about, not just playing to win, but playing to dominate. This is going to be so important through this game and as we head into our regular season face-off against the Bills after this week here. So let me know your score predictions in the comments below. Who do you think has the breakout game this week, and what is your score prediction? I want to hear it. As always, make sure to hit that like button, subscribe if you haven't yet, and share this with another member of Chiefs Kingdom. I would absolutely love that. So let's ride the momentum together, y'all. And as always, go Chiefs.